Well, that was a pleasure listening to you guys, and it was a pleasure to my soul to hear that kind of music. I'm glad we got you guys in here.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Fun.
So, what's the name of your band?
New World Parade.
Why don't we just go down the line and introduce each one of you guys and talk about how you got started playing music, what inspired you, and we'll go from there.
Cool. I'm Andy Roberts. I play keyboards. And I've been playing music my whole life. It was just something I can remember before. When I was a little kid, I was always playing, even before I started taking lessons. And even when I was taking lessons, I wasn't practicing, but I was always playing. So then I got better at practicing. But and then I play. We're all play professionally. I do as well as this project, and I love playing jazz. And I also grew up playing rock and roll and blues, and I love playing all that stuff.
So, what got you started? What made you want to pick up an instrument?
Bugs Bunny.
You know what? I had a Bugs Bunny
Tell 'em the
moment.
story.
Thank
Come
you,
on,
Andy.
Seriously.
What put me what was like my aha moment was seeing it was Bugs Bunny when he played the classical piano, but then he started playing jazz, like he was like in the middle of Chopin or something, and then he just started going ding 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 ding, and I was just like, boom, mind blown. Thank you, Bugs.
And what are some of your biggest influences?
As far as piano goes, I would definitely say, like Chick Corea, of course, Herbie Hancock, and then some of the rockers like Rick Wakeman, Professor Longhair. He is great. Like that, and I really, even more so now, I appreciate great classical pianists, and I'm just inspired by people who are great at what they do. So, yeah. Nice.
So is this what you do for full time?
And this is, yes, I play music full time. I do a fair amount of theater work as well. Music direct for a couple theaters, and just kind of put everything together and go from there. But yep, it's all music.
Sweet.
So it's fun.
Well, how about you?
Scott Nelson. I'm a guitar player. Started playing when I was about 6 years old. My dad played guitar, so he bought me a guitar when I was 6, and I always had guitars around the house. Grew up on Jimi Hendrix, Clapton, Beck, all that stuff, and when I was a teenager, some friends turned me on to jazz music, and I love jazz music, and I've been trying to play it. Interest in all kinds of music, really classical, funk, jazz, just good music. I've always liked all kinds of it and played lots of different stuff. Country, blues, rock, jazz, everything I could.
Now, how long have you been with this group?
This group started in about 91. Originally it was guitar, bass, and percussion. And then we added Dave in on drums and then Andy in on keyboards.
So you guys have been playing for a while together.
Been playing for a while. We recorded together in 95 and we've been playing a couple different versions of the band, different vocalists, different bass player, but basically the same. The three of us have been the same.
So how many albums do you guys have together?
New World Parade has one album that we did in 95, but we've played on some of Andy's projects, Andy Roberts' projects, and
vice versa.
I did something. So
now is that album still available to stream anywhere?
Not that I know of. I do have some copies available, but they're not posted anywhere.
Okay. But I heard you're working on a new album right now.
We have plenty of material for a new album. It's in discussion, I would say, about doing a new one. So I'd love to do one for this year. Yeah.
That would definitely be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Right. Yep.
Let me know and I'll get a copy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mr. Dave?
Yes, I'm Dave Santana. I play drums. I started when I was 14. My dad was from Cuba. He always had Cuban music on, so I heard a lot of percussion when I was a kid. But I saw Ringo on TV, and that was it. I said, I can do that. I never played drums in my life. So I had a friend who had a trap set, and he'd let me play them. I just sat down and started playing. And I took it from there. I played for 10 years before I actually took any lessons. I took about a year's worth of lessons with Spiro Sibyllis in Reading, who was a student of Joe Casada's. He got my hands to work a little bit. I graduated from high school, went on the road in dance bands like funk bands and all that, and for 8 years. I met a lot of big-time people like Buddy Miles and guys from Iron Butterfly, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And I just always wanted to play. Once I started, I knew that's what I wanted to do. It just, that's it. I pretty much shut a lot of things out of my life just to do that. But, and here I am, an old man at almost 70, and I get to play with these cats, which is an honor totally.
You got some nice colors on the kit.
Oh.
I can feel your soul when you're playing. It's not rudimental. It's feel.
Yeah,
You got the feel.
I mean, I studied a little bit with that stuff, but it all came from here, Watching people play. I played with older guys when I was a kid, and they all told me what to do and gave me a shot, so I just took it from there. And
We're street players, right, Dave?
I am definitely a street player, yeah, and I play with a lot of different people. I love all styles of music, and I mean a lot of stuff. I get to play a lot of different stuff, so I'm very, very happy and blessed that I get to do that. And these cats, I get to play with the best around,
For sure.
So I'm lucky.
My name is Andy Alonso. I'm on the Witness Protection Program, so I can't go on any further than that. Now, actually, I'm from New York originally. I've been involved or been into music since childhood. It couldn't be avoided. My dad was a bigwig in the Latin music scene in New York, putting together shows, promoting shows, writing songs. He was an award-winning songwriter, so I was surrounded by music constantly at Madison Square Garden, backstage with Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, and all these Latin bigwigs. So I was just around it all the time, and I loved it. I loved it. And what I wanted to be, believe it or not, was the organist for Radio City Music Hall. You guys don't know that, but now you do.
So you started on piano?
I started on dual console organ with bass pedals because we'd go to Radio City to see a show, and while my brother was watching the Rockettes, I was digging the organ player. They had an organ at Radio City, and when that thing would hit a bass note, your seat would rumble, and I loved it. Bass, just that, the sound of bass was amazing. So I told my dad I want to do that. So anyway, he got us the organ for my brother and I. My brother was more interested in rock guitar, which is what he played. So yeah, I studied the organ. My teacher was awesome in that instead of just taking me through books, the first thing he did was make sure that I knew chords. He'd give me a piece of sheet music and he'd say C7, that's C, E, G, B flat. He had me memorize all my chords, and he had me play them on the bass pedals with my foot. So early on, I knew. I was an 11-year-old kid who knew what an A flat major 7 sharp 11 was. Right? I couldn't do basic math, and I still can't, but I knew that. So anyway, then as I got older, I started getting into bands, and it was kind of easy for me to get into bands because thanks to my music instructor, I could figure out songs real easy. And anyway, so yeah, that was it. I just got into bands, and early on I got into the New York working scene doing corporate gigs, weddings, and
At what point did you switch over to the bass?
Oh boy. I kind of did them simultaneously for a while around age 11. And then the local bands needed a bass more than they needed a keyboard. So I stuck with that and kind of threw the keyboard to the side. I still go to the keyboard this day, though. I can't play. I mean, forget about it. You don't want to hear me play. But I still go to the keyboard to work out certain ideas that I'll play on. The keyboard still makes more sense to me when I look at a bass or a guitar.
Right.
It's because of my knowledge of keyboard that makes sense. Otherwise, it
And
looks
that's
like
a good link between percussive and melodic.
Oh yeah,
It's a good link to have.
Yeah, a keyboard. I advise any musician. I don't care what instrument you're playing. Study keyboard.
Yeah.
Because everything makes sense once keyboard goes up and down. That's it. Guitar looks like railroad tracks with telephone cables. But when you understand the keyboard, then that all makes sense. So anyway, playing on the New York music scene, which I still do. I still drive back quite a bit, and again doing corporate events and that. And then guys like this who think, hey, that guy, he knows chords and stuff. Hire him to play jazz. So I show up, I put my seatbelt on, and I try to hang, and yeah. And that's my story. Sad.
What bass were you playing there? That thing's beautiful.
That's a bass that a couple buddies and I put together. Yeah, we got some parts off. You can go online now and get anything, necks, bodies, electronics. So we slapped that thing together, and I'm digging it. Yeah, it's pretty new for me. I'm still getting used to it, but I like it.
Speaking about the internet, what any of you can answer this, but what do you think the internet today has impacted music for musicians?
Well, I think for young kids, I teach students, and I have some students that really use it. I'm surprised at how they inform themselves. They go and they look up everything. I'll ask them, hey, what tune do you want to learn? And they'll mention a tune by Cream or Hendrix or Chick Corea. Like, how do you know this stuff? Oh, I saw it on YouTube. So that aspect of it is great. Yeah.
What do you think of the sales, like for albums and being under a label, and how's that impacted? How's the internet in today's world impacted the music industry?
Well, I mean, it's in a way it's destroyed the industry. I mean, it's taken away the ability to earn a living from lots of players. The streaming pay is nothing, and it's not like you used to be able to go out and sell a bunch of albums. The streaming services have changed the business aspect of music for musicians. Now, you go out, if you don't tour and you don't sell t-shirts, you don't sell merchandise, you really don't make any money. You can't really sell albums the way they used to. Now they're making records again, which is good, so there's a product. But as far as the streaming goes, I think it's really killed the ability for players to make a living.
Yeah, I've noticed emotionally, back in the day we used to go to the CD place or a record store and turn a record on and listen to it from front to end, because there was all these emotions and took you on a ride. It was like a story the whole way through. Now the kids, they'll listen to a song and then they get halfway through it, or they might listen to the whole song, but after the song is done, they're on to something new. It's like set up for ADHD.
Yeah, the attention span is
never
that long. The attention span. I mean,
never
one tune and move on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've got 13, 15 songs on the album that, unless you spend the time to listen to it, you won't know what they're doing.
And then when somebody mentions that band, oh yeah, they're okay, but they didn't hear what the band was even about.
Sure.
But there's some good things about the internet too. We don't have to rely on record labels. We can make our own labels. We can record our own stuff now, and it's a lot easier for people to see it. So there's good and bad, I think.
Yeah, if you have to promote yourself. Record labels used to do it for you somewhat. They'd throw you a bone every now and then, maybe distribution or whatever you could get out of it, but it's all up to you now to do it. And the people that are successful, they're very good at it and they're doing good. I mean, they're making sure the product gets out there. Whatever they make on it, I don't know, but I mean, at least getting people to hear it.
And you have absolute freedom since you're doing your own thing, and you have the power to put your music out there. You don't have a record company saying, well, we want this style or keep it under 3 minutes or so there's the freedom of that, but that's not money's not good, but there is a lot of freedom in being able to have the power to put your own music out there as if you put the work into it.
All right. So what's next for you guys? You said you had
Lunch.
recordings coming up.
Probably do some recording this
Yeah.
year. You know, probably pick up a couple gigs here and there where when things open up. I know that I've heard there's things opening up right now. It's not real big yet, but restaurants and clubs, they want people to come in there so bad that they're really pushing it to get bands back in. A lot of clubs have talked about, bringing in groups again in the next month or two.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a website?
Yeah. Antigrav Music, ANTIGRAVMUSIC.com, and then, which is my website, but I have a New World Parade page on that website. So that can be, from there you can find the New World Parade. I have different projects on there, but so we're on there, and I put clips on there and whatnot, and
All
what
right.
we're doing, and yeah, we're hopefully this year we have tons of music, and so we're going to try to organize it. And
Who does most of the writing? What's the writing process like?
it's Scott and myself mostly. I mean,
We've
Yeah.
we've always wanted to write as a group. We've been talking about writing as a group for a while, so maybe this year we could do that. Usually Andy's bringing ideas, I'll bring an idea, people bring an idea, but we're not really writing in a room together.
My ideas are more wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like us all to play in snuggies, and these guys won't have it. So when I bring a musical idea, they figure it's gonna
I
be
didn't I just didn't like the color of the snuggie you brought for me.
Here we go.
See,
Here we go.
all right, not.
All right.
I
now
told you
look-
not in front. Not you guys. We were
Just
arguing
for-
about this all last week.
All right. There's a zipper under the mask. I'm done.
So is there anything you'd like to say to your fans before we wrap up?
I would just say, like, for anyone that is an inspiring musician as a young person, that the difference between great musicians like the Chick Coreas of the world or whoever and everybody else is the work. They work, and you don't always know how much work. It's like a great athlete like Michael Jordan or somebody like that. They're in the gym, they don't film those guys in the gym. They don't film these guys practicing every day, like
Yeah.
details and doing all the little things, and that's what the difference is. So
Stick with it.
if you stick with it, and it's work, it's not you can't just run on your talent. You got to put the work in. That's the difference.
There's a young kid right now on bass.
You don't get a participation trophy.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's this young kid, teenage kid on bass. I won't mention any names, but he's phenomenal. He's amazing. And I see so many people online comment and talk about him as a prodigy, as if he just woke up and could play that way. And meanwhile, the kid spends like 38 hours a day working on his craft, So there's, like Andy said, there's a lot to be said for the hard work. Everybody throws that term around. He's gifted. Well, if he's gifted with anything, is the focus to do the work.
Right. That's the hardest part. Getting
Yeah.
started, picking up
Sure.
your instrument.
Sure. I mean, I'm busy modeling snuggies and stuff like that.
Did you say 38 hours a day? I think you maybe just
What?
Not nothing.
8 days a week.
That's why I don't write songs.
Well,
I'm just doing the math. That's all.
we're going to have donation links and the website links and all their media links down below. So please check these guys out. Help them out. Donate if you have a chance. And once again, it was an absolute pleasure having you guys here. And I'd
thanks,
love to
Jamie.
hear some more stuff from you in the
Thanks, Jamie.
future.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Jamie.
Thank you very much.
All right. Till next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Peace out.